The Zorath Dominion was a galactic empire of staggering power, spanning entire star systems, with fleets that could crush any opposition in an instant. The Dominion had conquered hundreds of worlds, subjugating species far more advanced than humanity could ever imagine. Their weapons were born of 1,000 years of war, their ships were the size of small moons, and their technology was a league beyond anything Earth could ever dream of. When the Zorath set their sights on Earth, they didn't even consider it a real threat. The humans were primitive, their technologies laughable by galactic standards. The Zorath viewed the planet as a mere blip, a curiosity at best. Their conquest would be swift, as it had always been in the past. The humans would bend the knee or perish. It was that simple. The first contact came in the form of a standard diplomatic transmission, a formality before the invasion fleet arrived. The humans on Earth received the message with the usual political diplomacy. Earth's government, though united, had no illusions about their own standing in the universe. They had known for years that humanity was on the brink of discovery, teetering on the edge of something much larger, but they were still nowhere near a galactic power. The Zorath spoke in a cold, calculated voice, laying out their demands in no uncertain terms. They would take control of Earth's resources, enforce their rule over the planet, and subjugate the human race. The message was one of inevitability. And then the humans responded. The transmission they sent back was succinct. A single line of text appeared on the screen. "What do the low-tech humans know of war?" The Zorath laughed. In the grand scheme of things, Earth was a speck of dust. A backwater planet, with nothing but primitive weaponry, a few rudimentary spacecraft, and a population far too divided to mount any serious defense. To the Zorath, the humans were nothing more than an inconvenience. The message had been received with arrogance, dismissiveness. But they were wrong. What the Zorath didn't understand was that war, to the humans, was not just a matter of technology, it was a matter of spirit. The human race had been forged through centuries of conflict, through war, famine, and strife. While their technology may have been outclassed by the galactic powers, humanity had mastered the art of survival. It was a skill honed in countless battles against nature, against their own kind, and in the unyielding struggles of their history. The moment the Zorath fleet entered Earth's orbit, they found their first surprise. Earth's resistance wasn't some small, outdated force thrown together out of desperation. It was a world united under a single banner, a banner of survival. Every nation, every faction, set aside their differences in a common cause, to protect their home. Earth's military, long overlooked by the galactic powers, had been preparing for something like this. Though their ships were crude compared to the warships of the Dominion, they were swarming with a new form of warfare, guerrilla tactics. The Zorath had expected to obliterate Earth's cities from orbit, but what they encountered were human forces that didn't fight in open combat, they fought from the shadows. Humanity's fleet, though small, was nimble and fast, with one advantage the Zorath never anticipated, an uncanny ability to adapt. The humans didn't rely on advanced shields or devastating weaponry. Instead, they used tactics of deception, of surprise, and most importantly, of resolve. They knew their world, every corner of it, and they used it to their advantage. In a matter of days, the Zorath fleet found itself scattered, isolated, and slowly picked apart. One by one, their ships fell to ambushes and carefully coordinated strikes. It wasn't the sheer might of the humans that took down the Zorath ships, it was their resourcefulness. They knew how to exploit weaknesses, how to turn the Zorath's own superiority against them. Human technology, though rudimentary, was engineered with a purpose: to fight through adversity. Zorath ships were designed for speed and overwhelming firepower, but humans adapted, using their own technology to bypass the Imperial systems. They had invented a new type of electronic warfare that the Zorath were not prepared for. While the Zorath relied on brute force, the humans made their strength out of ingenuity. Every human soldier, fighter, and pilot carried with them the burden of generations of struggle. From their earliest history of tribal warfare to the global conflicts of the 20th century, humanity had learned one essential truth. No matter how outclassed they would never give up. It was this fierce, unyielding determination that shook the Zorath to their core. And then the unthinkable happened. The Zorath fleet's flagship, a massive, indestructible juggernaut that had been thought to be invulnerable, was taken down. Not by a single ship or overwhelming firepower, but through a series of coordinated sabotage missions that targeted its weak points, its exhaust ports, its power cores. The humans had learned everything they needed to know about the flagship's design, and they used that knowledge to dismantle it, piece by piece. It was a humiliating defeat. The Zorath couldn't understand it. How could a species so primitive outsmart them? How could they, with their advanced weapons and superior technology, be brought low by a race that had only recently mastered space travel? And that was when Earth's message came again. We may be low-tech, but we know we're better than anyone. The surviving members of the Zorath fleet, battered and broken, fled from Earth's solar system. The humans, though exhausted and scarred, had won. The galaxy would never forget the day the Zorath Dominion learned that technology wasn't the only thing that mattered in war. In the end, it was the indomitable spirit of humanity, their refusal to back down, no matter the odds, that turned the tide. What did the low-tech humans know of war? More than the Zorath could ever comprehend. And the galaxy would never make that mistake again. The Zorath Dominion, once confident in its status as the supreme force in the galaxy, was left reeling from their defeat at the hands of humanity. The fleet that had once seemed invincible limped back to the far reaches of their empire, shattered and demoralized. The message from Earth had been clear. Never again would the Zorath, or any other empire, underestimate the power of a species that had survived through sheer willpower and resolve. The story of humanity's victory spread like wildfire across the galaxy. Species that had once bowed to the might of the Zorath began to question their own place in the galaxy. For the first time in centuries, the balance of power shifted. The galaxy had been shown that the strength of a civilization didn't lie solely in its technological advancements, but in its spirit, its ingenuity, and its ability to fight when all seemed lost. On Earth, life went on. The victory wasn't celebrated with arrogance or triumph. There were no grand parades or boasts. Instead, it was a quiet, solemn acknowledgement of the price they had paid. The scars of war were evident in every corner of the world. But humanity had endured, and in doing so had earned a new respect, not only from the stars but from itself. As Earth's governments began to rebuild and further develop their space programs, they were cautious. They had seen what could happen when the galaxy took notice. Humanity was no longer the quiet, forgotten species. They were a force to be reckoned with, and they knew that the universe would be watching them closely. And so, the warning remained etched in the minds of every galactic empire, every alien civilization, and every species with eyes on Earth. The message was simple, yet powerful. We may be low-tech, but we know war. And we will fight for our home. Humanity, once overlooked and underestimated, had risen to take its place among the stars. The galaxy would never forget the day they learned that the true power of war was not in technology, but in the heart of the people who fought it. And Earth, though small and far from perfect, stood as a testament to the indomitable will of humanity. What the low-tech humans knew of war was more than enough to make the universe take notice.